A good frequently asked questions section of a website is going to answer the customer's questions. It's going to lead them to the next steps. And the customers will not have to reach out to the company over chat, email, or phone because they get their questions answered right there on the website. A comprehensive recap is to a phone call with a customer, is to a chat with a customer, what an FAQ section is on the website. You're giving the customer what they need. You are proactively answering the questions they have, that you know that they have, and you are guiding them along to the next step. When you do that, you're going to get fewer questions at the end of the interaction. You're going to get fewer callbacks. So we're going to look at how to deliver a comprehensive recap. I have a client who was struggling with average handle time. And when I began my work with him, started by listening to a random sample of phone calls. I wanted to hear the flow of the call. I wanted to see where agents lost control. And what I determined is the end of the call is where they were losing control. They handled the opening and the body, the questions of the call really well. They were quite knowledgeable and they had a pretty robust process to move the call along. But it was at the ending of the call where they were trying to get off of the phone that they would lose control. So what I would hear over and over again as they were trying to wrap the calls up was, someone from our review team will get back to you. It was that vague. Someone from our review team will get back to you. This was an organization that had a warranty, a protection plan. And so people calling into this customer care center were calling to file a claim. They wanted to open a claim. And so at the end of the call to say someone will get back to you left a lot of questions. So what I would hear at the end of the call from customers was, how will they get back to me? Will they call me? Will they email? Do you have my email? When will they get back to me? Is it 7 days? Is it a couple of days? What do I do in the meantime? So customers at the end of the call would have 2, 3, I counted up to 5 follow-up questions. Now, my client, the agents, they could answer every one of the questions, like without missing a beat. They didn't have to look anything up or confer with anyone. They had the answers. But that back and forth, the time it takes the customer to think of a question, ask a question, and you answer that added minutes to the call at the very end. What they were missing was the comprehensive recap. So I rewrote the way they closed the call. So we went from someone from our review team will get back to you. We went from that to what happens next is your case goes to our review team. I have sent my notes and all of your photos, or if the customer needed to send photos, when you send photos, all of that goes to the review team. They're going to take a look at the case and determine if we can move forward and open a claim. It typically takes our review team 21 to 28 days. People might not like that time frame, but you need to know, you need to be transparent with your customers. They will reach out to you at the address we have on file, and that email address is. All right, so it feels like a few more words than someone from our review team will get back to you. But what that comprehensive recap did is it answered the questions before the customer had an opportunity to think the question, formulate the question, ask the question, and it eliminated that back and forth. That is what a comprehensive recap does. When I walk my client through this process, we shaved talk time. We got agents right in that goal window by only changing the end of the call, adding a comprehensive recap. I want you to do the same thing. Make sure the way you end the call is as efficient as possible, that you're proactive. Think about the questions that you are asked from your customers, and you can do this for a chat as well as a phone call. The questions that they ask when you're trying to move them to closure, those are the questions that you need to include in your proactive, comprehensive recap. Even if that is 4 or 5 questions, I want you to start with what happens next is, and then you explain that in your efficient way. You're going to be much faster, I promise you, than the customer thinking the question, asking the question, and that back and forth. So what happens next is, and you list what happens next, and then you end the call with, are there any other concerns I can address for you? And if you've done your job right, there won't be any other concerns because you've driven that conversation forward. All right, try that comprehensive recap, and I promise you, you're going to begin to shrink your conversation talk time. See you in the next video.